Hi everyone, my name is Jaydelisse Morales. I am Communications Assistant at the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, and in this video presentation, I'll be going over about video in 2025, including YouTube, TikTok, and other video-centric platforms, and going over a couple of statistics and information that may be useful to your business. Now, for this presentation, I'll be going over what I think are the 3 to 4 most prominent video-centric platforms out there, and those are YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook and Instagram, which I kind of combined these together because they are both owned by Meta, and it's very easy to manage video on both of these platforms at the same time, which I'll go more in depth with later on in this video. So I love to use examples of real brands out there for presentations, and I also love coffee, so I normally tend to look for coffee examples, and I came across this brand Chamberlain Coffee, which I thought would be fun to use since it has the word chamber in it and coffee. Full disclosure though, I've never had Chamberlain coffee before, so I'm not being biased or promoting this brand. I probably will try it though after this presentation. Okay, starting off strong, we have YouTube. YouTube is a free global video sharing platform, and people can upload videos on there, watch videos, comment on videos, share videos. A lot of people post their videos onto YouTube and share them on other platforms like Facebook, maybe their website, and kind of also how you're watching this video, which was uploaded to YouTube for the Tech Expo event. And as of 2025, there are 2.5 billion active users on the platform, 216 million which are in the United States. YouTube is also the second most visited website globally, and I think this is because we also use YouTube as a search engine, which is true. After Google, YouTube is the second largest search engine. 2 days ago, I was having trouble with my Nespresso coffee machine where it just wouldn't unlock. And I searched up answers on Google. I got that AI overview, I looked through some articles, and I couldn't find the answers. But when I resorted to YouTube and actually watched videos on how to restart the machine, I was actually able to get it fixed. And moving on, the largest age group on YouTube is 25 to 34-year-olds, which I think is super important when considering what demographics are on these platforms, and does that make sense with your target market? Okay, next up is YouTube Shorts, which was launched in 2021. These are short-form vertical videos, very similar to TikTok and Instagram Reels, and as of 2021, there are 1 billion shorts already on the platform. Of the 216 million active users in the United States, 164.5 million are also watching YouTube Shorts. The average duration for these videos are 33 seconds, but the common length can be between 30 to 40 seconds. And this next stat surprised me, but 40% of shorts are not on TikTok or Instagram Reels, which means if you're only on Instagram and TikTok, you could be missing 40% of the content that is only on these YouTube Shorts. Next up, we do have YouTube advertising. YouTube is the 6th biggest digital ad platform in the United States, with the potential to reach 2.5 billion people. This means no matter how niche your audience is, they're most likely already on YouTube. So if you do advertising on YouTube, you're very likely to reach them. And another thing is YouTube is owned by Google, so they do use the Google Ads system when setting up a video campaign, meaning if you're already using Google Ads, it could be a good idea to try to set up a video campaign on YouTube. And there are different formats available. It doesn't necessarily always have to be that first video that kind of interrupts when you try to watch a YouTube video, or when you have to hit skip ad. There are in-feed ads, which are technically when you go to the search results, when you look at your search results after looking up a video, you know that first one that comes up and has sponsored there in bold, that would be an in-feed ad. And there are other types, so you have your skippable and non-skippable in-stream, you have your in-feed, you have your out-stream ads, and there's plenty more. If you look here on the right, you see this Apple Music's ad, which is actually an in-feed ad. because it's not interrupting your video. The video is still playing up on the top, or it would be if it were live, but the video is still playing up on the top, and that's kind of just that extra content that you see, or the watch these other videos that you see when you're holding your phone vertically. Now, YouTube Studio is basically your channel dashboard. It's the area where you can manage your channel, you can optimize your content. There's an option where you can actually use AI to help inspire you with new video ideas. You can analyze your performance on videos and track your metrics. You can interact with your audience. It lets you reply to comments very easily. You can customize your channel's appearance and add thumbnails. And if you're eligible, you can monetize your videos. Similar to YouTube Shorts, TikTok is a short-form video sharing platform where creators can edit, create, upload, share, watch other videos, engage with other videos. There is 1.582 billion monthly active users already on TikTok, and the average engagement rate for brands on TikTok is a 2.2%. However, it does vary by industry. A survey reported a 0.6% rate for dining, hospitality, and tourism, and a 2.2% rate for media and entertainment. The optimal posting frequency for brands is 3 to 5 weeks. However, you don't necessarily have to get started right away with 3 to 5 weeks. You can start posting once a week as long as you are consistent about it. And tutorials are the most popular type of content on TikTok, which actually does help businesses, I believe, because if you're selling a product, great, show your audience how to use your product. If you're selling a service, I'm sure you're selling that service so that your customer can reach a specific goal. How to reach this goal. And in that tutorial, it should definitely include or somehow incorporate your service. TikTok Shop was launched in 2023. It's a marketplace for TikTok users. It's very, very helpful for small businesses and brands to have a digital storefront and be able to sell their products directly to consumers. A couple of stats since TikTok Shop was launched: 58% of TikTok users already are engaging in TikTok shopping. Whether that's they're physically buying the product, whether that's they're scrolling through the storefront. In fact, in 2023, 85% of the most frequently purchased items were in the categories of beauty and health. In 2022, 24 million people in the US made a purchase on TikTok, and that number is expected to grow up to 40 million people in 2026. Ads on TikTok are highly influential, with 56% reporting that they were inspired to make a purchase with an ad on TikTok. Similar to YouTube Studio, TikTok has launched TikTok Studio, which is basically an all-in-one channel dashboard where you can create videos, you can manage your videos, you can track your video analytics, and you can monetize your videos. Like mentioned earlier, I combined Facebook and Instagram together in one because they both have what are called Reels, and those Reels are, again, the short form vertical videos that you can share on these platforms, and it's linked together. You can link both accounts together through Meta, which is what you see over here on the right. That's why if you look at Chamberlain Coffee's example, she has two of the same videos on both of these platforms, the coffee one that looks delicious and then that matcha one. And so you can actually post to both of these platforms at the same time using what's called Meta Business Suite, which I'll go over in the next part of this. But really quick, video content on these platforms does represent 60% of time that is spent on these apps. Reels must be less than 3 minutes long to be recommended to non-followers. And in order to be considered a reel, it does need to be below that 3-minute mark. If it's longer, it'll be considered a regular video on your feed. Meta Business Suite, or formerly Facebook for Business, is an all-in-one channel dashboard like TikTok Studio, like YouTube Studio. You can manage your channels. Fun part about this one is you can manage both Facebook and Instagram channels that you have linked. So you can post to your Facebook and your Instagram at the same time and schedule out to these. You can manage your inbox, you can create ads, you can track insights and trends, see all activity at a glance, and access helpful tools. Now that we learned about these video-centric platforms, I do want to leave you off with some tips and tricks that you can apply when experimenting on these platforms. First, know your niche and know your audience. Get to know the culture on each of these different platforms. Learn what types of videos are posted, read some of the comments, observe trends, how the algorithm works, and then ask yourself, does this platform make sense for me and my business? You do not need to be on every single platform out there in order to have an effective social media marketing strategy, so I recommend you first experiment and figure out which one works best for you. Keep your content on short form videos concise and short. Remember, it's good to keep it under 30 to 60 seconds, and it's good to start off right at the first second and continue talking, avoid any long pauses, and all the way till the very last second, because you want to keep your audience engaged every second of that video. It is very easy to lose your audience. That being said, you want to be able to hook your audience within the very first 3 to 5 seconds of the video. Normally, when people are on social media, they are just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. If their attention isn't caught within the first few seconds, they're going to just keep scrolling on to something else that they will find more interesting. If you're on multiple platforms, it is not a bad idea to repurpose your content. The same followers that you might have on Facebook are not the same followers that you might have on TikTok. Remember, there are different demographics on these platforms, so it is a good idea to post the same content to both in case one might miss it on one platform. My favorite tip is to show personality in your videos. Show your face, show behind the scene moments, show authenticity, especially if you're a service-based business. People are choosing you to provide that service, so why should they choose you and not someone else? Next, encourage audience engagement. It's actually very easy to encourage audience engagement. All you have to do is ask questions that people may want to answer in the comments. I know I do this on some of my personal TikToks. I mentioned I love coffee. I posted a couple of coffee spots that I like to go around Mesa, Arizona, Phoenix, Gilbert, and in the caption, I simply asked, what spot should I try next? And that way I got all the coffee lovers to comment their favorite coffee spots that were included in the video. It's also important to not only engage with the comments on your feed, but to engage with other videos, like other videos, share other videos, repost, comment on other videos. That will help you gain exposure to your account, but it's also a factor that TikTok takes into consideration when pushing your content out there. Is this account engaging with other videos? That's a plus. Also, experiment and see what works best for you. What works best for someone else doesn't necessarily have to be what works best for you. You never know when a video can go viral. If you don't believe me, you can study the case of Nutter Butter's account on TikTok. To me, it's kind of scary, but it's what worked for them and it's what they continued to utilize for their marketing strategy. Finally, post consistently. It doesn't matter if you're posting once a week or if you're posting 3 to 5 times a week, or if you're posting every day of the week. As long as you're consistent, TikTok will take note of that, will like that, and will continue to push your content out there. Thank you for sticking with me to the end of this video presentation. I hope you learned some important information about these video-centric platforms that you can apply to your marketing strategy. Once again, my name is Jaydelisse Morales, Communications Assistant at the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. If you have any questions or have any feedback, please feel free to reach out to my email, jmorales@mesachamber.org. Thank you.